All right, welcome back to episode 3 of the DGN Sports Show. I'm joined by Adam and Garrett once again. We had a good weekend of football. We're back on college this week. Our Thursday shows will normally be college picks. Um, you guys want to jump right into it?
Yeah,
Have at it.
we had a pretty successful week last week. I mean, we all went positive. If we were betting on these, nobody would have lost money. So as long as we can continue to stay on the green side of things, and I say we're doing pretty well.
Absolutely. Well, let's not waste any time. The first game is Alabama at Texas. Alabama is 20.5 point favorite, and the over/under is 65.5. Thoughts?
Go, Garrett. All right.
Go ahead.
So the line opened at 20, and it moved a half point since the beginning of the week. And I know 20 and a half points is a lot of points for a premier opponent. But I think if I'm going with my gut, I'm still going to take Bama to cover that. Um, I don't see them putting up 60, but I just don't see. I think what we saw at Alabama when they played Utah State was exactly what they wanted everybody to see. They didn't try to do anything. It was basically an open practice for them. I bet their scout teams are better than Utah State's number one starters. So if I'm gunning my head on that spread, I'm still probably going to take the Bama 20 and a half, and I do think that over under at 65 and a half is pretty high. I think I'll probably take the under on that. I think it's probably a 17-41 ball game. Um, it's I think Quinn Ewers he did pretty well in his opener against Louisiana Monroe. But I don't know, man. The SEC is just getting so far ahead of these other teams in college football that it's not even it's just not in the cards to pick other teams to be able to compete in a close ball game, unless they come in extremely higher ranked than the SEC team. And with Bama and Georgia for that matter, I just don't see anybody being able to stay within 20 25 points of them all season unless we're talking about Ohio State or and any of those other premier teams. So in my head, I'm going Bama to cover that, and I'm going to take the under. So
Kind of right there with you when it comes to. I just don't know right now how you bet against Bama. Uh, the only thing I differ on is I've got the over because I think we finally might get to see some points scored against Bama's team this coming Saturday. So 65 and a half, I don't love the over on that. But my way of thinking is Bama's going to come out and score 30 really fast, and Texas might get a couple touchdowns, and then as soon as Texas scores like their second or third touchdown, no matter what the score is, I think Nick Saban's just going to you know what, let's take off the brakes and just go all out. So what I'm kind of hoping for because that over is a lot. I gotta take the over, man. It's no fun watching for an under right now. So especially with a Bama team that can just score at will. So Bama and the over. That's going to be my pick. I think for Bama every week till the end of the season. So
It's hard to not take that with Nick Saban. You kind of never know what he's going to do. Um, I'm taking Bama, obviously, to cover, and I'm going to take the under with Griffith. They don't play anybody big next week. Alabama plays Louisiana Monroe, I believe. They have a cupcake. So,
that's who Texas played the first game.
yeah, I
Uh,
don't. Yeah.
Talk about a buzzsaw for Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah.
They're
Uh,
trying to get a new practice facility. Looks like get them checks, bud.
yeah. So I'm taking Bama under. But, so this is the first time the two teams have played in the regular season since 1922.
that's crazy.
And actually, Saban's first BCS title was against Texas in 2010.
Mark Ingram and Colt
Colt
McCoy.
McCoy. Yep.
Yep.
Yep, I remember that.
All
Mark
right.
Ingram won the Heisman that year.
Yeah, he did.
I remember who Alabama opened the season with that year. You know who he was? He might have been actually. Did he come back after that? Did Mark Ingram come back for another year after that, or was that his
Mm,
last year?
don't know.
I couldn't
I
tell
think
you.
they opened the season with Duke. If I get that, that's bonus points right there. We can go on to the next one while I look this up. But
Next game is Iowa State, Iowa. It is 3.5 Iowa, and the over under is 40.5.
go ahead, Hawkeye boy, take it on.
Yeah. So here's what we've learned about Iowa in the past, last week game is that offense, man, it's just not
Stagnant.
working. They scored 7 with no touchdowns. I mean, so I'm taking Iowa State money line. I think the spread right now is 3.5. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It stayed the
And
same.
if you think that I'm taking the over, well, I think me and Griff were joking about it yesterday. We're not going to take the over in a single game that Iowa plays in this season, and I think that's a pretty good rule to live by. So Iowa State money line, take the under. Iowa State's going to score at least 10 on Iowa, and then Iowa's going to maybe score 3, maybe 5. They'll get another safety. Who knows? But yeah, I just don't see Iowa. Iowa State's a much better offense than South Dakota State. The Cyclones. This is an in-state game. They're not fans of each other. Like it's going to be a fist fight, but Iowa State all the way. Go Cyclones.
Yeah, it's a good early season rivalry matchup. Hunter Deckers is the quarterback for Iowa State. He went 25 for 31, had 293 yards, 4 passing touchdowns last week. So Iowa State can score. So I'm with Garrett. I'm going to take Iowa State money line, but I'm still going to take the under. Oh, and the running back also rushed for 104 with a touchdown. So
I don't
they've
think
got
that
plenty of
Iowa knows
offensive
that you
power.
can. I think Iowa's unaware that you can throw for more than 2, throwing touchdowns in a game. I don't think that's ever been heard of in Iowa.
No.
So
Yeah.
I think they're finally going to get an offense that can actually do something.
Yeah, Iowa State money line under. I'm with you.
I'm gonna just for the sake of being different, I'll take Iowa to cover at 3.5. I'm gonna say the score is gonna be 15-7 with 6 safeties and a field goal for Iowa.
Jesus Christ! If that happens, I will physically give you $100.
I'll give them 1,000.
Nobody better sneak down to that campus and tell them that they can score touchdowns, because if they start scoring touchdowns, something might get dangerous.
I just want to keep betting unders.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I think if that under was 30, I'd still take it.
After last week, it's hard not to.
South Dakota State their offense is going to be productive this year, and they got held to 3 points. So I'm saying Iowa State maybe gets 17, 14, and Iowa 20, something like that. But I would be shocked to see it hit an over on that. So I'm gonna take Iowa just at 3.5. That half point makes it weird, man.
It does.
You know what? No, I'm not. I'll take if it was 3, I'd take Iowa. But at 3.5, I'll take Iowa State with you in the under.
Okay,
Let's
so we all
go.
agree on that one.
I'm gonna take that. I'm not taking money line though.
Oh, you're just taking the cover.
I'm taking the spread. I'm not doing money line.
Okay. All right. Next game is Kentucky at Florida. It is 6-point favor Florida and 52.5 over under.
That line's moved a 1.5
I know.
toward Florida since Sunday, and which I don't think that is crazy. So between 4.5 and 6, it's a touchdown. I mean, 4.5 you got to win by a touchdown. 6 you got to win by a touchdown. It's not in the eyes of picking sports bets. Like it's not a make or break kind of change. If it went from 2.5 to 4, then yeah, that's a big jump. But just to be safe, I'm going to take Kentucky to cover it. I'm not going to take a money line because it's a toss-up, and that's a homer pick, even though I want them to win. but I do think the over will hit in that 52.5. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think Anthony Richardson is he's going to be hard to contain. I think Will Levis, with the skill guys we got, we put up a good amount of points. But I think keeping Anthony Richardson out of the end zone is going to be a tall task, which I think is possible, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. But I'm gonna take Kentucky in the points and hope for a shootout down there in Gainesville.
I agree with you there. Wasn't a huge fan of the line. I love our Cats, but I've just got too many concerns after week 1, so I'm going to take Florida and over. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think Florida's got us by 10, maybe 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Oh.
Really, Garrett?
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Y'all be realistic.
If you're gambling, you shouldn't pick with your heart, so I can respect your decision. So last week, Florida gave up 230 rushing yards to Utah. Now, I know Utah's known for the run, but so is Kentucky. Even though we're missing Chris Rodriguez, it looks like their defensive line may be their weak point. But our offensive line last week did not look good, so it's kind of a stalemate there for me. I was trying to make that put that into my decision. But DeAndre Square and Jacquez Jones are great lateral runners. I think they might be able to contain Richardson some. We're going to have to spy on him, obviously, to be able to contain his rush threat. I think it's a toss-up game, but I'm going to take Kentucky to cover, and I honestly think I'm going to take the under in that. So,
I think it needs noting that Kentucky, we started the season and our deepest position was running back. Well, it's
not anymore.
It's not anymore. We got Chris Rodriguez out, who was a preseason All-American for the SEC. He's out. The transfer from Sam Houston State. He was an All-American FCS player last year. The first play of the game he got in, he tore his ACL. One play into his SEC career, he tears his ACL. Smoke, I think we're still going to have Smoke, but really our running back room is Smoke and Lavelle Wright. Lavelle Wright has had – no, Utah McClain, he got injured. He's not –
I didn't see that.
He's out. That's not like a major one. That's not a major – he's not going to be out for long, but he's not 100%. So our running back room is Smoke and Lavelle Wright, and I think Lavelle Wright has had 12 carries his entire career.
Yeah.
So our running back room has gone from being the deepest point of our offense to being really a weak point now. It kind of shocked me. I looked at the PFF grades for players, players in the opening game of the season, which PFF grade, for people who don't know, that's basically how well they did their job. Not necessarily how well they played in general, but if they had an assignment, if they executed that assignment on each play. And our highest graded player of the first game was Jacob Burton, which we thought he was one of the weak links, but apparently not, in the eyes of the people who it really mattered to. He did decently well. So our offensive line struggles. I think they're going to get better, but with the recent shortage of our running backs, I don't know if our run game will be able to be what it is normally. And I think it's going to come down to Will Levis and these skill guys to be able to move the ball up and down the field, which is going to lengthen the game, which is why I took the over. I don't think we're going to be able to run the ball very well, so it's going to be pass plays. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But man, Utah, they moved the ball. They had 400 yards total offense.
Yeah,
they just couldn't get in the end zone. I think they fumbled in the red zone. They threw a pick to end the game in the red zone. I don't think Will Levis is going to have trouble moving the ball up and down the field. It's just we got to execute when we get in the red zone.
Yeah,
and, I think it's going to be a great game, but it's a toss-up, man. And if Kentucky can win this one, they pretty much walk into Ole Miss 5-0, and they should. I think we play South Carolina before that.
Next week's Youngstown.
Youngstown and then Jacksonville, I think, and then we got one SEC game before that.
Yeah,
I think.
that might be the South Carolina then Ole Miss. Or
South
no, that would
Carolina's
be.
at 8.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But and Ole Miss should come into that game 5-0. If we can win this one, we got a real good shot at being in the top 10 ranked going into Ole Miss.
That would be
And
fantastic.
if you can win at Ole Miss, buddy, then at that point it's all up to you what the season is. But this is where it begins. So we gotta be able to execute, see how it works.
Yeah, they got to go down there and take care of business. Next game, South Carolina, Arkansas. It's 8.5 Arkansas. 53 is the over/under. Carolina has won the last 3 matchups in this against these two teams, but they are 0-4 in their last 4 SEC openers. It's 2 big name quarterback matchups: KJ Jefferson and Spencer Rattler. I'm going to let you all talk before I make a full decision. I'm kind of stuck on this one because I don't know. I think Arkansas is great, but I've yet to see enough of Carolina to make a decision on if they're going to be good or not.
Yeah, that was my main concern when trying to figure out where I need to go with this game. But I got to stick with my SEC West, contender that I've kind of picked. I think Arkansas wins by 10 points. And I do think the game's at Arkansas. I haven't seen enough from South Carolina. All I've seen was Arkansas play a really hard matchup against Cincinnati this past weekend. So rolling off that, I think it's kind of two teams that kind of push each other around, but I'm taking the under. I just think 53 points is a little bit too much for this matchup. Arkansas's defense looked pretty daggone good against Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only thing I know about Cincinnati offense, is slinging it around. So
Yeah.
to hold Cincinnati to, I think, was it 20 points, 17, something like that. So, I just don't think South Carolina's going to be able to move the ball as well as they'd like to. So, Arkansas to cover in the under.
All right.
I like what Shane Beamer's doing at South Carolina. I know that they did not have a very impressive opener. They played Georgia State, and they won 35-14. Spencer Rattler looked okay. I think they were wanting a little bit more out of him. As far as Arkansas, they played a pretty decent Cincinnati team and won 21-14, I think. I think Arkansas wins the ball game, but I don't. I think 8.5 is just too many points to pass up. I wouldn't be surprised to see Arkansas win by 2 scores, but just gut reaction. You give me 8.5 points and South Carolina, I'm gonna take that. I think I'm gonna go with the under too. I think it's a 21-14 ball game again. I think Arkansas is gonna grind out. It's gonna run the ball. It's gonna be a clock moving kind of game. So I'd be surprised to see it get in the high digits, but I think for myself, I'm gonna take South Carolina the points and the under.
Yeah. Both great points. I do think it is going to be a grinded out game. It's a good SEC matchup. Like I said, I got to see more from Rattler before I give any stock in what South Carolina can do. I'm going to take Arkansas just because I think they're trying to return to glory days and they're doing a good job. And I'm also going to take the under in that matchup. Lord, the next game, I have been struggling with this all day, trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to pick. Tennessee at Pitt. Tennessee is a 6-point favorite, and the over-under is 67. Very high over-under. Pitt won last year at Tennessee, 41-34. They don't have Kenny Pickett now. So, what's going to happen in this game? It's tough for me to decide because West Virginia is not that good from what I've seen. So I don't know if I can really base Pitt's success on that one game alone. But Tennessee, Hendon Hooker looks like I hate to say it, but he looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. And his backup is just as good. I rewatched that game this morning also. Just, I don't know what to think about Tennessee right now. And honestly, I hate thinking about it because we have to play him this year. But what you got, Garrett?
I think this, like you said, I think I expressed this a couple days ago. I said I hate looking at this game. I hate looking at the numbers. Just as much as I hate it, the only way I could make this game even like pleasant to look at, this is going to be my fun game of Pitt doing something which I think would be great is winning this game outright and scoring a lot of points. So I'm taking Pitt money line, taking the over. I hope they
Yes.
score 400
Yes.
points. I don't care. Games in Pittsburgh. What's it matter? I don't care. Just score points. Pitt win the game. I know Tennessee's got a good offense, so just give me points. I just want the points. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I hate this matchup. I hate Tennessee.
I do too.
I think Pitt can hang with these guys though.
Now,
So
you said the over
oh yeah.
at 67?
Oh yeah. That's the only way I can feel fun about this game is if they just keep scoring points.
Yeah. It'll make it
I don't
more
think they can
enjoyable.
stop each other. I genuinely don't think they can stop each other.
I thought I was going to be going out on the limb saying I wanted Pittsburgh money line. Now I'm not going to do it. You talked me out of it.
Why? If you originally thought that, take it.
Come to the dark side, man. Come on.
Pittsburgh played West Virginia last week, and if you don't know, JT Daniels transferred to West Virginia, and Neil Brown's their head coach, and he, it's a former Kentucky offense coordinator. He knows what he's doing. Pittsburgh had a pick six in real late into that ball game, and really that's why they won. But I don't think there's going to be a points problem in this ball game. I think Tennessee is kind of a can you keep up with us kind of team. I think there's going to be a little wrench thrown in Tennessee schedule right here. I like the fact that it's at Pittsburgh. Not having Kenny Pickett makes it. Obviously, if you lose a Heisman contender, it's going to be a problem. But Pittsburgh's got a pretty decent program. I'm going to take the points. I'm not going to do money line. I'm going to take the points. Truthfully, I think smart money's on the under, but I'm going to take the over too. So I'm going to do the spread and the over for Pittsburgh. I'm not going to do money line. If Garrett hadn't said money line, I would have taken it. I'm going to do the spread.
So I originally had Tennessee in this game, and I looked up stats all day. I might still take them. I got to decide while I'm talking here, but I think Pittsburgh's quarterback, I can't remember his name right off the top. He had like 300 yards passing, but he had one touchdown. And they had a lot of players who they had like 3 or 4 receivers who averaged 25 plus yards a catch. I know it's only one game, but it seems like it's a lot of big plays, a lot of havoc plays. Tennessee's defense, I know they didn't play much last week, but they didn't look terrible. And I don't know if Pitt's going to get those big plays. I don't know if that's what their team is going to be based on. You know what? I'm going to take Tennessee in the under. I'm going to stick with my original pick. But
this is a top 25 matchup, and
yes.
Pittsburgh is the higher ranked team. It's 24-17. So almost a touchdown favorite to a home higher ranked opponent.
I know.
I
know it's a lot. It is hard to pass up, but when I woke up this morning, I turned on the SEC network and that game was playing in Tennessee, and I didn't want to watch it, but I was like, wow, they are actually really good. It made me have second thoughts about us playing them this year. She's waiting on a pick. Callie wants to get a pick in.
See, that's the issue with this matchup is that I never want Tennessee to win a game, obviously. But I also don't have anything for or against Pitt. The only thing that I like that's come out of Pitt right now is, the Steelers quarterback. So that's why I just hated this game so much. So the only way I can get by with it is just give me points. and give me Tennessee to lose. That's the only way I'm going to be happy when it comes to this game.
Yep. All right. Next game is Wake Forest at Vandy. This line has moved a lot this week. Right now it's at 12 for Wake Forest, and the over-under is 65.5. Vandy's 2-0, boys. Do you think he's going to be saying that?
Go ahead, Adam.
They need to get as many as they can.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be scarce at the end of the season.
I think their over-under for total wins was only at 3 to start the season.
Going to be 3 after the third. It's going to be. They ain't going to be pushing after this week. I don't think.
I don't think so.
They've got a top 25 team in Wake coming in there. Who am I to argue with the gods of Vegas? If I would have been able to get this at Wake Forest -7, I would have put the house on it. Something that is always good to do is when you only get to watch a team once or twice at the beginning of the season, don't put too much stock in their performance, especially against teams that are terrible. Which we get sucked into that. But this is going to be Vandy's first game against a real football team, and I think that lack of recruiting is going to show. Wake Forest is a good team. They were a points machine last year. And I think that even though Vandy's been able to put up points so far this season, I think it's a pretty clear Wake Forest runaway victory. That over-under at 65.5 is close. Just because I don't think Vandy's going to be able, unless they get a couple late scores, I don't see them being able to put up 40 points. I'm gonna take the under on it, but give me Wake Forest and the under.
Yeah, this one was a tough one for me at first. Obviously, because I've been sucked into Vandy looking like world beaters. I know they've not played anybody. But I do like their quarterback. Mike Wright looks like he's the real deal. He might be able to make some changes at Vanderbilt, help them get some better players in. I think they're going to get over the 3 before the season's over. Personally, I don't know. They got to have one more non-con game. That's probably somebody weak. But it's hard to go against or to take Vandy to win again. I've already had my luck with them betting this season, so I'm going to take Wake Forest in the under also.
All right, I can tell you all are not Vandy believers, and that upsets me. It really does. Vanderbilt, they're turning things around. They're going to be a competitive football team, and I think they're going to show the world that there's somebody who can contend. If they were an FCS team, not playing in the SEC though. Adam, I think you took Wake Forest to cover. What at -12? 12 points.
12 points.
Yeah. Wake Forest is going to win by 20 points. It's going to be that. You know what? Talk myself into it. This is my lock. This is going to be my lock. Wake Forest is easily covering this game. Easily. They're going to win by 30. And you know what? Just to make the game more fun to watch, give me the over. I want the points. Wake Forest and over. Love it. I mean, Vandy's not a good team, but offensively, I mean, they put up points. Yes, it was Hawaii. Yes, it was Elon. Like, where's that even at? But, like, if they can score, I don't care. Give me the over. I want the points.
All right. Next game is App State at Texas A&M. A&M is a 19-point favorite, and the over-under is 54. Well, we all seen App State score 40 in the fourth quarter last week. That'll probably never happen again. I don't know how long the A&M players will stay in the game. They do play a ranked Miami the next week. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel pretty strongly about this, and so I'll make this my lock.
Go.
Give me Happy State in this.
Ooh, to cover.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not gonna be a wild ass and say Mainline, but man, they got a bunch of 5th, 6th, and even 6th year players. I don't think that they're a bad football team at all, and um, Appy State, they're going to come out and kind of hit them. If nobody remembers, they were up 2 scores on North Carolina, just nearly closing in on halftime.
Yeah.
I think North Carolina got some points right before halftime, but they came out of the gate hot and they finished hot. They just had the second and third quarter just stop them. So that screams to me they didn't make a change when North Carolina made a change, and they had to fix it after halftime. So it's a scheme thing. It's not a personnel problem. And I think 19 points is a lot. I'd see it being I don't think App State's going to win, but if you tell me that Texas A&M is going to beat them by 21 points, I just don't see that happening. I mean, they put up 61 points last week against North Carolina, who was supposed to be relatively decent. I'm going to say Appy State and the over, and I'm going to make that my lock is Appy State covering that 19.
Go ahead, Garrett.
What you just said, like it's hard to disagree with. It really is. I just looked at this and from like just the face value, A&M against the Appalachian State team, I'm like immediately like, give me 30 points like it's A&M. 19 is so many points. My biggest thing is that game's at A&M.
Yeah, the 12th man.
I mean, I know Appalachian State, they're not a great program, but they're well known, and like they've been around the block. They've played some big teams, whatever. But I mean, A&M's like a different world.
Knock some big teams off.
Yeah, but I don't think that's happening this week. That A&M team, I think it's just completely different defensive beast than North Carolina. I mean, you could tell me North Carolina didn't have anybody on the field second half defensively, and I would believe you. So A&M, I know it's a lot of points. I got to take A&M to cover that. The only thing is, I do believe Appalachian State can score a little bit. I can see this, 40 to 27 game. Not 27, sorry, 17 game. I think that line is like right at it. I'm gonna take the over though, just for make the game a little bit better to watch, but also these two teams. I don't know. It go either way, but I got to take the over.
I'm with Griff. I had App State in the over, wrote down earlier. I think Chase Bryce is going to score enough points to keep it respectable, but I don't think they win the game. I can seeing the game being like 14-17, but not. I don't think it's going to be a total blowout. So yeah, I'm taking App State in the over in that also. What do we got? Houston at Texas Tech. 3.5 Texas Tech and 63. Oh.
It's another one of them games that I just hate the matchup.
Yeah, Texas Tech lost their starter last week, but their backup Donovan Smith apparently looked very well. I didn't get to watch a lot of their game. I'm just going to – I don't have a lot of thoughts about this one, so I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to take Texas Tech to cover that 3.5. And I'm also going to take the under of 63. Houston, 3 overtimes against UTSA. I don't know. I just don't – they wore themselves out last week, and I'm not sure – thinking I'm going opposite of what I thought they were going to do last week. So I'm going to take Texas Tech in the over. Did I say that? Yeah.
They said under at 63.
Oh, no. I said the over. I meant the over. My bad. I was looking at the wrong line. Gotcha. I had my stuff wrote down in front of me.
If you want to go ahead or let me get out this.
I can do it.
Okay. Go ahead.
I picked Houston last week to cover -4 UTSA, and the only thing I can take from that is that them UTSA Roadrunners are world beaters, bud. It being a home game for Texas Tech, I'm gonna take Houston. I'm gonna take Houston to win that ball game. I think 63 is a little too many points. I don't think they're gonna be able to score. It took Houston 3 overtimes to get to 37 points against UTSA. So I mean, I don't think they're off, and they start, on the 20 in overtime. So that means they had to score 2 touchdowns at least in overtime to win that ball game. So I think 63 is really high for that over under. Texas Tech, you know, Mike Leach used to be down there, and they used to like to score a lot of points, but I just don't see these two teams being able to do that. But I'll take it. Give me the points in Houston, and I'll take the under at 63.
Griff, we about had it. I really wanted you to say it after you said that you're taking Houston. I wanted you to say money line so bad.
No,
I think Houston goes into Texas Tech and wins outright. Give me the money line. And 63 too many points. Give me the under. I think Houston wins by a touchdown, maybe. I think it's going to be like pretty close game towards the end. I mean, I bet against Houston last week. I mean, they won the game, and I lost my money line bet. So you know what, Houston, I'm giving you a chance now. Sorry for the disrespect.
Rolling with the Burchets again.
Rolling with the Burchets, rolling with the Cougars. Let's go. Houston's going into Texas Tech and winning that game.
I don't know. I kind of do want to watch that game because I didn't get to see much of their last game. Besides the overtimes we sat and watched while we were tailgating, but I think it'll be a good one. Let's go on to this crazy line. Hawaii at Michigan. 51.5, and the over-under is 67.5. This is the biggest point spread in Michigan football history. Biggest spread they've ever gotten. It was the biggest spread at 50, and it moved up a whole point. I have no faith in Hawaii. But I do think that spread is completely ridiculous. 50 points is insane. I don't know who Michigan plays week 3, but I'm going to take Hawaii. And I think I'm going to take the under. I think Harbaugh's not going to risk any of his players. He had a good season last year. He was almost on the hot seat. And now, I don't think he wants to risk it. I think he wants to stay at home in Michigan, so I think he'll take his players out early. So give me Hawaii in the under.
I think anybody who takes a spread at minus 51.5 just isn't in the cards. You either know something nobody else does, or you don't know the stats. I do know that up until last year when Harbaugh beat Ohio State, he was something like 0-12 against the spread when he was an underdog. So he's only won games other than that one game last year that he was supposed to win. As an underdog, I think he's 1-13, which tells me that this man does not cover spreads. He does not. So I'm 50.5 points. 51.5 points is which strong. I could see Hawaii getting blown out by 60. I could, but there's just too many things that has to go right. Hawaii can't score. Michigan has to score 55, 50. They have to. If Hawaii scores a touchdown, then it's pretty much they cover the spread. So I'm gonna take take Hawaii and give me half that Benjamin for the spread, and I'm gonna take the under too. I don't see Hawaii scoring more than one touchdown. So I definitely don't see 61 out of Michigan. So. I think that under. If I hadn't already thrown out a lock, I'd throw that out there. But I'm going to take Hawaii to cover that and the under.
Well, I just checked, and it's actually went up another half point. It's at 52 now.
Yeah. So I'd definitely take Hawaii. I know they're terrible, but 52 points. I mean,
that's insane.
It would take Iowa 6 weeks to score that many points. I mean,
if a team's up 50 points, none of their starters are playing on both sides of the ball.
Like but I mean, their third string could score points on Hawaii. I just don't see them. they're going to be running the ball. They get up 40. It's going to be a clock game. And if they put their third string in, Hawaii might be able to score once or twice. If Hawaii gets on the board at all, that spreads theirs. So just have to see how it goes. But I'm gonna roll with Hawaii and that under. I think that's a great bet.
Very good.
We might have the clean sweep on this game because too many points, and I gotta take Hawaii in the under, man. I don't. When I first looked at it, I was like Michigan. They're definitely, and I was like, man, 51.5. Like that's a lot of points to be scored, and then one field goal or one touchdown. It's all for nothing. So
yeah,
maybe hardball. Maybe something happens. Hawaii scores a field goal or a touchdown, like to easily cover. If it gets out of hand, which I'm assuming that it will be, but it's just how out of hand is it really going to get before hardball's like, okay, let's ease up.
Yeah.
And at 67.5, oh my Lord.
That's a lot.
No. Hawaii in the under. Yeah, I think for our stats wise, that's not fun to take, but I think there's no way you could go any other choice on this one, I think.
Well, that'll be our triple play for the week.
How
We all
bad?
agree.
How bad does it suck? It kind of hit me earlier when Vanderbilt was playing Hawaii. Every game Hawaii goes and plays somebody, they've got like 5 hours of jet lag. Every single time.
That has to be terrible.
They could be playing at 7 o'clock in Ann Arbor, and it be 2:30 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
In Hawaii.
Do you think they travel early in the week and practice at somewhere local, maybe?
I mean, you'd have to.
That would still suck though, because you would have to flip your sleep schedule in a week and adjust.
I don't know if they go backwards or forwards. I think it's actually they go. So if they were playing at noon there, it's like 5 p.m. here.
Yeah.
So I think that's about right.
Yeah,
if they're playing in Ann Arbor at 7, it's like a noon game. But if they're playing at like noon in Ann Arbor, like they're playing at 5, they're playing at 7 a.m. in the morning for the Hawaii players.
Yeah.
So it's just a hard thing to get success out of a football team when you've got to deal with 5 hours of jet lag going either way.
Well, we got one game left. Baylor at BYU. It is 3.5 BYU, and the over/under is 53.5. BYU is 5-22 against top 10 teams, and Baylor is 26-33 as a ranked team versus another ranked team. So,
take it, G boy.
I got BYU, man.
ooh,
I gotta take our boys at BYU.
You subscribe to the Book of Mormon now?
he didn't wear his suit today. He didn't want to look suspicious.
Yeah, that actually would make. That'd be a good clip for me to be wearing my black and white suit and then say, "Oh, I'm taking Brigham Young University to win this game." Nah, I don't know a lot about these teams. I'll be honest, but BYU in the over. I'm not going to elaborate. BYU in the over.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, I'll save you. Go ahead, Bummer.
Well, I'm going to be opposite of you. I'm actually going to take Baylor money line, and I'm going to take the over. Both these teams score a lot of points, but I think Baylor has a slight edge just from anything I've read. I've not watched either team, just reading and other people's opinions. It seems Baylor has a slight edge, so I'm taking Baylor in the over.
I'm gonna go against Team Garrett here. I'm gonna take Baylor. Give me 3 points. If it wasn't 3.5, I would have taken money line. But I'll take Baylor to cover that. Texas against the Utah Mormons. I don't know who BYU opened the season with. But Baylor usually has a. Oh, Baylor's ranked 9th.
Is USF.
Oh God, give me Baylor money line. I'm changing that.
I wasn't going to give it to you, but I was waiting on. I knew you'd look it up.
Yeah. Baylor's number 9. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Give me Baylor main line in the over. I'll do that.
Baylor always contends in the Big 12, so I thought that one was hard. BYU's actually joining the Big 12, I think, next year. Is that right? I think I read that today. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I have no idea. I don't keep up with that conference that much.
I'm curious why BYU is favored in this game. Is playing at Brigham Young University, is that like a hostile environment? Like,
So apparently it is very hostile.
really?
A lot of stuff I read today talked about BYU's stadium being very, very loud. Baylor had been practicing all week, pumping sound into the stadium. So
That might be the craziest thing I've heard all week. And
I can tell you this.
I love that though.
I had a physical therapist once who was a graduate of BYU. Very nice guy, loves football. He said that he loves watching football at Commonwealth. Sorry, I'm not calling it Kroger. And he said BYU is just as loud when it's packed, if not louder. He says it's insane. So
That makes me want to take BYU.
even more.
Give me 7 points. Give me 7 points. I'm taking them. That is interesting to think about. Like, of all places, like being a hostile territory, to go play football game. It's BYU.
Hang on, Garrett. I can give you an alternate line for 7 points on BYU.
No, shut up. No. 3.5.
You got we kind of skipped over it last week, but you guys want to throw out some early picks for the playoff?
Take our top 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. I don't mind to do that. I feel more confident with picking this than I did our Super Bowl picks.
Yeah, Super Bowl's kind of up in the air.
You want to throw a Heisman vote in there also?
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, I'm going to throw my Heisman vote out there. I think it's going to be Bryce Young. He's going to be... Has there been a sophomore win the Heisman since Tebow?
Johnny Manziel was a redshirt freshman, wasn't he?
I think so. I can't remember. I'm still taking...
Bryce Young's a junior, isn't he? You can't leave for the draft as a sophomore.
No, you can't, but you can still win the Heisman.
Yeah,
because remember, the only reason I say that...
He's in the draft projections for next year.
The only reason I say that is the Nissan Heisman commercial. Bryce,
he's a junior.
Well, what the hell? In the Nissan commercial, Tim Tebow greets Bryce Young at the door, and he says something about him being the first sophomore, I assumed.
He won it last year as a sophomore.
Oh, yeah, that's why he said that. What the fuck? What am I to remember? I wasn't paying attention. I just heard that this morning when I was watching the SEC Network, and I was like, oh. That's my fault. I'm still going to take... Actually, I don't know. Cancel that take. I'm going to have to rethink. You all go ahead.
Garrett, BYU -7 is a +140.
Ooh.
I could be more than that, to be honest.
Well,
I did too.
If you're going to...
They're high on BYU, man. I'll stick my 3.5 and still take Brigham Young.
Well, Hank, that's really weird.
While you're looking whatever you're looking up, I'll go ahead and give you my 4, and I think it's pretty basic, but I mean,
we're probably all going to be really close together.
Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, and I don't know who else you don't. Honestly, I know we talked about it a little bit last show, but like if Notre Dame, if they win out, I think they have a pretty good chance for it. I'm really impressed that Notre Dame team, even though they lost. I'll throw them in there. Pretty basic 4, I think.
I'm going to go Bama, Georgia, Clemson.
Ooh.
Clemson has a very easy schedule this year.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, what?
I was just saying, yeah. I was just trying to think.
And I'm going to throw out a random 4th. I'm gonna say that Michigan makes it this year.
Michigan.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Ohio State didn't impress me, and they're the only way that they don't make it in. And I think if they can, they're gonna have to play them in the regular season, and they're gonna have to play them in the championship game. So, wait, no, they're in the same conference, aren't they? I mean, they're in the same division. If Harbaugh, I think I'm gonna give Harbaugh a chance this year. They got a good team this year, and Ohio State didn't impress me against Notre Dame. So it's kind of an off the wall fourth, but that's who I'm gonna go with.
I don't hate it. It's so wide open right now that
Yeah, it's so early.
Well, I just looked. Four of my four teams are four of the top five teams right now. So, not a year for dark horses. Doesn't look like.
I was gonna put Bama, Georgia, Clemson, and Ohio State. I mean, what can you? It's hard to not pick them this early in the season, but I mean, I guess that's off notoriety and who they are. I don't. Who knows?
Who you got for the Heisman?
Yeah, I said Young, but I'll just stick with him. Like these picks aren't for anything, but I just don't know what to pick right now. It's hard to early predictions on those.
I think it'll be Stetson Bennett.
Oh my God! If it's Stetson Bennett,
listen. I think there are better players in the nation than Stetson Bennett. Yes. Do I think Georgia's going to win outright until they get to Atlanta? Yes.
Yeah, but that vote is on who makes that team better. Does he really make that team that much better?
It's going to come down to three people. It's going to come down to, do you give it to Bryce Young for a second time, C.J. Stroud, or Stetson Bennett?
I'd take well, if Stroud does better than he did last week, I'd take Stroud. But you may be onto something, honestly, with that argument.
If Bama, I mean, unless Bryce Young just obliterates what he did last year, I don't see him giving it to him again. Now, C.J. Stroud probably has a really good shot at it, but I don't see anybody beating Georgia through the regular season. And man, they scored points. Like they scored a lot of points. And if Stetson Bennett has the year that Bryce Young had last year, I don't see how they can give it to anybody else. Now, do I think that there are better players in college football than Stetson Bennett? Absolutely. Yes. But that's become a quarterback's trophy, and it's all about how your team does. And I just don't see Georgia. I don't see Georgia faltering, and I don't see him giving it to anybody else. Wonder what his odds are for the Heisman right now.
I do like it though, the idea of Stetson winning it this year. Because I feel like everything I heard about Georgia in the offseason after they won the Natty last year was, is Stetson the guy? Like, is Stetson actually good, or was it just like everybody else on that team? And there's like a lot of non-believers, and then I don't know, he looked pretty daggone good on Saturday. So
he's not flashy.
It'd be a good story,
but he does everything he needs to do. Like he's like a Brady. He's a system. He's in that system, and he does a great job at what he's supposed to do.
Hey, Bulls, they got a player on here named Jaron Hall for 9-1.
That's BYU's quarterback.
Give me that. Give me that. That's my guy. That's my guy.
Does not surprise me.
I was talking.
You know what, Adam? Give me 7. Give me that 7 line. Give it to me right now.
No, when I seen that kid's name was Jaron Hall, I said, "Well, it's over if I've ever seen one."
Hey, they got Bo Nix at 200-1 right now. If you want to take that one.
Oh, buddy, I've already got a future on him, so ain't no point.
But they got.
You took away my joke, man. I was actually going to say when y'all got the Heisman, I'm like, I really feel like Bo Nix has got it this year, man.
They got Stetson at 14-1. That's not a bad bet.
No.
Bryce Young's 3-1. C.J. Stroud's 3.5. Caleb Williams for USC 6-1. That's somebody we've not thought about.
We got to throw one of their games in here at some point.
Lincoln Wright. I mean, shit, they don't play. Pac-12 don't play nobody. I don't want to talk about them.
What's our schedule look like? Do they have one good game? They have to have one good game in there.
I mean, they play Oregon, but.
Well, yeah, we've seen what Oregon looks like.
Let's see. I got their schedule right here.
USC plays Notre
Dame. They play Notre Dame. They don't play Oregon. They play Notre Dame.
That would be a good game.
They play you. Their only two ranked teams as of right now are Utah and Notre Dame.
We'll throw one of those in there.
Fact, they're my fourth team. They're my fourth team to get in the college football playoff.
You think so? I like
yeah.
that.
And Caleb Williams, man, I think that's a product of Lincoln Riley. I think if they scored 66 points in their opener.
Wow.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet. I'd go Stetson or him, but I don't see him giving it to Bryce Young again. I think that's just a hurdle that you have to have the Heisman season that you had the season prior, and then add about 50% to that for them to give you back-to-back Heisman.
They're just gonna have to blow everybody out and him be a complete force the rest of the season, which is possible. So
yeah, I mean, it is. But I'd say it's.
I don't know. I like all these picks. It was a good week. If y'all are watching these videos, like, subscribe, comment, leave all that stuff below. We'll be back Monday. Recap our picks from today and do our NFL picks for next week.
Recap those. So, but I think we're all gonna get off here and watch watch the
NFL starts tonight.
Romance Christmas.
Back, baby.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited about tonight. Great game.
You guys took the Rams, didn't you?
Yeah, we took
Rams money line.
Both took them money line. So if you want to get in, watch this game together in a party and yell at each other, I'd be glad to do that.
But I got the Bills. We can put on the team colors tonight and yell at each other like we hate each other. Like small town politics.
We'll be back Monday. It was a good episode, and we'll be seeing you
next time.